bad. Good.
Alright, so our fenders come in last week, so I'm about to get these opened up, and if there's nothing wrong with these, which we'll flip them over, there's no dents or dings. All we need to do is Scotch-Brite these down with, scuff these down with Scotch-Brite with soap and water, and then run them through paint. We'll go ahead and paint the inside since they're off the vehicle. Outside, we'll do the whole thing and get these knocked out. Your fenders are easier to work with now while the front doors are off the vehicle, and I still kind of want to check that one door that has damage. I kind of want to get the fenders on so that then I can put that front door on, even though I hate to do it and take a chance of chipping paint. But I'd like to get that door on so I can check to see how much I need to beat it in. I mean, I'll go ahead and hammer the door off the vehicle, the edge, straighten the edge out where I think it needs to be, but I'd like to get it on there double check to make sure it doesn't need to be brought out or in or anything like that on the actual door lip itself. We're gonna look over these. These are cheap eBay, not eBay because eBay doesn't sell product, but they are your normal cheap fenders that you buy off of eBay. Just trying to find a name for y'all, you know, made in Taiwan. You know, your Capa Certified auto parts. That a lot of people hate on. A lot of people talk crap about this stuff. So I really, really, really love aftermarket imported junk. Well, there's a dent right there, so we're gonna have to fix that. And a lot of times you can message the seller and get a discount. So let me take some pictures real fast, and I still love this stuff though. Let me take some pictures real fast of that and message the seller. So that's actually kind of funny. I'm like, oh, I love these fenders, open it up, oh man, they're busted. Nah, but on a real note, that's what you kind of have to expect. So I've been dealing with ordering eBay parts long enough that when it comes to the fenders and the hoods, normally they're always damaged in shipping. So I believe that these companies even have a margin to come off some money from shipping damage. I mean, they kind of have to budget it because often they'll refund you some of your money back on the damaged parts to help cover with the body work. And for me, that's good. I would, if I had an option to buy either new with no damage for, let's say, $1,000, or say, okay, take these with the damage for $600, $800, $700, whatever. I'll take the damaged ones, skim them out, throw them through primer, and paint them. Because to me, on this stuff, with my personal vehicle, it's all about the money.
Is this about money?
Yeah, it's about money. 100% about being as cheap as possible. 100% about being cheap as possible. Not about the quality. With the customer jobs, I would do it different. I would be like, no, I'm not giving my customers this crap, and I normally only charge the customer X. So if you're going to replace a fender, then you charge the customer for the fender and for your time to scuff and spray it. You don't charge a customer for body work on a brand new fender. That don't make no sense. So in that situation, I would be, you know, with a customer job, number one, okay, very important here, is customer jobs. I don't use eBay parts like this. If I had this job in here for a customer job, you're either paying for it through the dealership, or you're going somewhere else, or you're supplying your own parts. That way, when you get this in the mail and it's damaged, you can return it yourself and deal with it, or you can bring it to me, show me it's damaged, and I'll price you the bodywork side. You need to understand that when you're doing this kind of things, customers, in my shoes, they would get dealer parts. That way they fit better, and that way if they show up through my door and they're damaged, I'm just local. I don't have to deal with somebody over eBay or anything like that. For my stuff, I want the junk that's straight out the dumpster from China. That's where I want my stuff. I want my stuff what fell out of the dumpster as the trash truck was picking it up to dump it, and they resold it. That's what I want. That's what I want for my stuff. I want to be dollar wise, I want to be as low as possible in these builds, and so this stuff like this doesn't bother me at all. I immediately just went in there and messaged the seller. Now, I did drop the ball on, I should have opened these when they come in the door. I know better. I've been doing this for long enough, over 10 years now, buying aftermarket parts off of eBay. We've slowed down. We don't buy nearly as many fenders or hoods and stuff. We buy it through our local supplier, which is the same quality. It's Chinese aftermarket parts, but it's coming from a local warehouse. So they import a ton of stuff and then they resell it out. So I'm not saving a couple bucks, but at least I know when it gets here, if it's damaged, I can call them up and have it next day, another replacement. So, but again, on my stuff, and when you're seeing me do one of these projects like this, even my personal truck or anything like that, it's always going to be about getting the parts as cheap as we possibly can, working with what we got, putting a little bit more sweat and a little bit more labor into it, because my labor is free on my own vehicles beyond what anybody says. That's how you get the vehicle, is you do your side work, you do your side hustle, and you put into labor. It's funny how people will comment, oh, well, you got to account for your labor. Then how about your race car? How about that car that's in your garage that you work on every single weekend? So you go to work all week, and let's say you get paid $15 an hour. Let's say you get paid $20 an hour, 30, 40, 50. Okay? Whatever you get paid an hour, when you come home on the weekend and you do it for yourself, do you clock that hourly rate and, say, oh, well, now I'm $20,000 in a Honda Civic that I have been customizing in my garage? No, you don't. You don't. And it's no different than when you're doing stuff like this to try to get ahead in life, and you bought yourself a wrecked vehicle, and you're not clocking your own time. You can't do that. It don't make no sense, I kind of keep up with about what I'm in it. Every single time I go to sell one of my personal vehicles, I always end up making money. But even if you count the labor, it's the lump sums, like, it's just, look at it as a job. Then that's fine. When I go to sell it, I'll get, if I make 10,000, 15,000, which I could easily make 15,000 on this one, what I'll be in it, if I was to go to sell it. But we plan to keep this long term. It's just a different ball game. So I want y'all to understand that real fast before we move forward. I wasn't expecting to get dents. I knew that it was a possibility, but that was cool to capture on the camera. So I'm gonna wait. We're not gonna touch these when you have a situation like this. We're not gonna touch these. We're gonna wait for the eBay seller to message me back. Sometimes they want the product cut in half with a saw, and then they want you to send them pictures, and then they'll mail you a brand new one. Other times they'll just stroke you off, a couple $100 to cover the body work, and other times they'll just send you out a brand new one. Sometimes they'll just refund you the whole amount so they don't got to deal with it. So we'll see what they say before we prep any on this stuff, and we'll move on to something else. All right, now with your used parts, often these are coming from privately owned junkyards, and you normally don't have that big of an issue on your used stuff. Like, these doors came in really good shape, or they were as described. I did buy these doors, especially that other one back there, with damage on purpose. Purposely bought them with damage to save some money, and they were in better shape when they got here than I thought they were going to be in. So the seller was actually making a big deal about the damage on that one over there, and I completely understand, but they were in better shape than I thought they'd be in. So we're gonna move on, get this door all sanded out on the face with 320, scuffed on the backside, get the emblems off of it, the rubbers off of it that was left on there, and then get this one prepped for paint. A lot of times your private junkyards like this that are the little guy owns, they ship them a whole lot better. So they actually put them in wooden crates. If you hadn't seen, we actually got one here we've been using for a rack to clean seats on, So this was actually a fender crate that a whole fender come in, and then that was a pallet that one of the doors come on. So a lot of times they build structures to actually ship their parts in so that they don't have to deal with it, because obviously they're just selling used parts versus the companies with like the fenders. They're giant companies. They're mass producing them. They're mass shipping them. And they can afford to have some shipping damages, unfortunately. It's a minor setback for you sometimes if you don't plan. But yeah, your used parts often show up in better shape than your aftermarket new stuff. All right, so we got some pretty crazy news yesterday afternoon. Well, it's not crazy necessarily. It's just exciting for me, to say the least. Kind of bittersweet. So I'm gonna log in on a computer real fast and show you, for anybody who we'll call bullcrap on it. We got them fenders for free. So them fenders were $800 and some on the Tahoe, and the seller basically said that I can either take $100 and repair them, or I can send them back. Let's see here. Let me flip the camera around and show you the message. So this is where I reached out to them about the fenders. All I did was message them. I didn't open a claim or nothing disrespectful like that. You should always reach out to the seller before you open a claim. It's kind of just the right thing to do. So they said right here that they can issue a partial refund, or they can ship out replacements in 1 to 2 days. If I want to return it, if you wish to return the item, please submit a return request on eBay. And it tells you how, and then, you know, they message you back. Every single time it was somebody different messaging me, by the way. It was pretty crazy. But so what I did was I told them that, you know what, I don't want let's see here, messages. I don't want the $100. They offered $100. I feel like that was a little ridiculous for the amount of damage that the fenders have. But that, you know, I would send them back. So I messaged them and I said, will y'all be sending me a return label? You know, because if I'm going to send these things back, I don't want to get stuck paying out of my pocket for some parts that I didn't damage. You know, I purchased brand new parts from y'all and intended for me to get parts and scuff and spray them, not have to do body work on them. Now keep in mind that the dealer, to get the fenders at the dealer, is about $1,300 to $1,500 to get the 2 fenders at the dealer, and we paid $800 and right under $850 for 2 off eBay. So I just didn't feel like fixing them. I figured, you know, if I paid $850, that I might as well just send them back, especially if they're going to give me a return label. Like, why would I not? You know, so it's a headache of dragging them big boxes right up the road to Mailbox Express. That's who I used up the road to ship stuff out. But it wasn't going to cost me anything. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to request a return label. I'm not going to take the $100. $100 to deal with that was just not worth it to me. I mean, that still would have knocked it down to 700-ish and some change in the fender. So it still is, you know, pretty much half the price that we would have paid at the dealer, which is really good savings when you're talking about 50% savings with a little bit of work. But I was like, I don't want to. I'm tired, I'm exhausted, and I don't want to do more work over $100. So I messaged him back. I was like, cool, I'll open a return request, you know, and I'll just send these fenders back to y'all. So they messaged me back, and now when you do the return, they wanted I could upload up to 10 pictures. So I uploaded 10 detailed pictures of the damages of the fenders that they were, I mean, there's some significant damage on them. You know, the top edges near the hood hinges are bent around, and they need to be hammered back straight, meaning that the fenders are going to have to be put on the vehicle to figure out where it goes, you know. So now instead of just scuffing and spraying and putting them on the vehicle, now it's going to require some test fitting, which is a minor setback. But I uploaded 10 pictures, and then they messaged me back, and this is what, that chair is so loud. This is what they said. So they basically said, you know, hi CRC, sorry the fenders are dented, blah, blah, blah. To save you from the hassle of returning the product, we will no longer require you to return the products. You may safely dispose of it as you see fit. They're refunding $848.39, and it'll be in my account in 1 to 2 business days. And that you can reply, and they ask you to please not close the request because it will mess up the refund. So I am pretty freaking stoked about this. This Car Parts Wholesale is the wholesaler. I'm very happy with the service. Again, they had nothing to do with the damage. Obviously, that's all in shipping and stuff happens. Or it could have been dropped in the warehouse. But the people on the customer side service of the company definitely made things right. So with that said, this morning, I am pretty freaking stoked, y'all, that I just got my fenders for free. Not a penny. Yes, I got to pay for body filler. You're going to get these comments below. You got to pay for primer. You got your time. You got the fitment issues or putting them on and off and getting them to fit right and everything like that. I get it, but I'm happy with that. So that's $850 less that we're going to be in this Tahoe, meaning $850 less that I have to try to recoup on the backside. So that's a big savings when you're doing a project this big, and I will gladly take some damaged fenders and work with them and fix them over you know, having perfect ones and spending another $800. So we're gonna get these things fixed and get them fitted on the vehicle, get all the fitment issues right, get everything lining up, and then move on to any body work that's needed, any primer that's needed, and get them through paint. Okay, so to get free fenders, what do we have to deal with is probably what a lot of people are going to ask. What exactly all are you going to have to do? So we're not 100% sure yet, but I can show you what I do know is damage. So we do have a dent right here in the top, as you can see, a little tiny ding. We have this little outwards ding on that. Normally you get an outwards ding like that because it went in and hit something on the inside of there, which is actually the corner of the metal. So this right here could be bumped down a little, and this needs to come up a little, or it could have just been dropped and just, you know, hit it just right where it creased it. So that's the reason why it's important when you're dealing with something like this is, unfortunately, we're gonna have to go ahead and put them on the vehicle, kind of mock everything up, make sure all of our fitments are right, make sure we don't need to beat or tweak or twist anything, and then do the final paint. But what we're gonna do this morning is we're gonna paint the insides of them now that we're changing directions. And that way, I'm gonna try to take this thing home to my house. The race car is going to get wired on Monday, so I'm gonna have an empty garage. I think this thing will barely fit. And what I will be able to do is hopefully get this thing in the garage and work in the AC. I don't know if them roof racks are gonna fit, honestly. I wonder if they unbolt, like the actual crossbars. Anyway, so we have this big dent right here. Obviously, we'll either stud this out, because I don't know if we can get to it from the inside. We'll try to get to it from the inside. It looks like we have upwards in this direction dent, meaning, and you can see right here where this whole flange looks like it may be in. So this flange may just need to be tapped up a little. On this fender right here, the flange actually hangs way far past it, so it's easy to roll that. So that might just need to be tapped up a little to get this back straight out. And then the big thing that I'm in question of is you can see this buckle right here. So this right here appears not to be right because there's a gap here. This appears to be a factory body line, obviously, and I haven't took the inner fenders out the front to compare yet. But I really feel like this was dropped in this direction and kind of pushed this up some, which made a buckle right here. So we're gonna have to address that. Both fenders are like that. I mean, fortunately that's down really low, and fortunately there's like no structure right here, and you can almost see like right here it looks like, you know, it looks like it's bent. I mean, I know there's a body line supposed to be right through here, but I think that this area right here is actually bent. So that's gonna be easy. You take a 2x4 or 4x4 and just sledgehammer and knock that down that way. That's nothing to worry about at all. I'm not really worried about that at all. There's really nothing I'm worried about on the fenders. It's just a little bit more time. The edges, these are common on the hoods, they get dropped and they get bent. So this thing is supposed to be bent like this. So we're gonna go ahead and take a hammer and a body hammer and knock this up before I paint the inside, so that hopefully I don't have to hit that again. If I do have to hit it again, you won't see it, so it'll be fine. And then you have surface scratches, you know, from shipping all across the top right here. So, and we'll prime probably this whole fender whenever we're done, being we're going to do body work, little areas all over. So not a big deal, not the end of the world, absolutely nothing to really cry over. Obviously I just don't want to pay $800 some to have to do this work, but I will gladly do this work for free fenders. So I'm going to get at this one. I'm going to straighten that edge out. I'm going to scuff the inside, throw it in the booth, and then put the next one up here, and we'll go over it next. This dent actually just went from the inside and was able to get that where it pretty much popped right out. So you can see we have a little dent left to skim, but our big dent popped right out. So I was able to come in here, and these access panels, take something and just hit it, not even with a hammer, literally just kind of hit it by hand and push that right out. You could almost get your hand, no, it's too small to get your hand up in there, and it's just not worth it. And it's not worth taking a stud gun over that. So we'll just skim that out with body filler, and it will look perfectly fine. And we'll do this whole entire, we'll end up doing this whole entire lip after we get it fit on the vehicle. All right, fender number 2. Same issues down here, same thing. This one, this buckle looks a little different than the other one. The other one was more at the weld. This one's more buckled right here. So I think these lowers were definitely dropped and squished that way, so they need to come out. You got some of the same stuff going on the wheel flange right here. So I think this is definitely down. I think this needs to be tapped up, but we'll see when we put it on the vehicle. Besides that, you got the same little issue right here. So I don't know if that's just common or if it's actually dropped. I mean, everything looks good around the headlight opening. Like, there's no issue with the structure. So that might just need to be hit in. And then you have the same issue with the edge right here, but this one is obviously way worse. But these are easy to bend. I mean, there's no structure there at all on these, as you can see. So these just bend right back up, and then a little dolphin glaze right there, skim that out, and you're good to go. So this one's not as bad. Same issues. You know, you can see right there where that molding is basically down, or that wheel edge is down like that. So we'll need to skim out these wheel lips. Besides that, though, I mean, this one don't have like a big dent like the other one does. It has a little dent right here, if I can get the light to reflect right there. You can see right there. But besides that, not a big deal. So well worth the body work for a set of free $850 fenders. So let me get this one scuffed down. I just scuffed that down. So all I do is I scuff all the inside down, and I scuff the wheel well down. I scuff this top area down, it gets bolted, and I don't scuff this side. And so we'll lay it back over like that. We'll go in the booth and we'll paint all the insides. That way when we put it on the vehicle, all the inside is painted. We can final assemble everything. And then when it goes into the booth, all we got to do is we back tape this like this, and we either paint from here all the way over, or if I'm happy with all this and this didn't get scratched up during assembly, then I kind of face tape here down and I paint from here over on the outside only. So we're gonna go ahead and make sure we get all that this morning painted. So let me get this little triangle bent out right here, and then let me get the inside scuffed, and we're gonna shoot these.